journey through the eyes of nurses. Tune in every Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. for expert advice, inspiring stories, and simple tips to care for yourself and your loved ones.
Already are we? Already are we?
I'm ready. But this thing is loud.
Your number one fun health radio.
Everybody go. Yeah. Okay.
How is it? You said it's loud.
It's better now.
It's better now. Lagos. Time check now. It is 2 minutes past 8 o'clock. A very good evening to you, and welcome to Boiling Point Arena. This is actually the 44th edition of the program Boiling Point Arena. We are listening to 194.9 FM, the number one song held at the radio. His name is Guy Macro. And imagine that you're joining us for the first time on this program. Boiling Point Arena is a monthly public affairs discourse designed to spark meaningful conversations around governance, leadership, accountability, and enduring on a stage of the democracy tonight. This is the focus that has become a major concern for many Nigerians. I'm talking about you. It's nothing you talk about literally every day. We've been talking about it all through the week, every single day. Nigeria's kidnapping economy, understanding the rising threat of insecurity and its impact on national development. From highways to communities, from urban centers to rural areas, kidnapping has become one of the country's most troubling security challenges. Beyond the fear and trauma, many now argue that it has developed into a criminal economy with far-reaching consequences for the nation. One, the problem persisted. Who put this correct? Who is the government concerned? All of these are some of the questions that will take tonight conversation. A distinguished panel of security experts and policy analysts share their perspective on this important issue. Now, to formally set the stage for tonight's discussion, let me hand over to the convener, Boiling Point Arena, Dr. Ayo, as always. Dr. Ayo, the arena is yours now.
Thank you. very much. You can say that again, Gaius. This is Boiling Point Arena, edition 44. Hello, welcome, dear esteemed listeners and viewers across Nigeria and around the world. Ayo Aromujulu is my name. You can bet what we are bringing to the front burner tonight is what we can call in the typical Lagos local palace, Ogbono Feli Feli. It is what is happening in the now in Nigeria. The topic, Nigeria's kidnapping economy and national insecurity. Are security votes working? What must change to make Nigerians safe again? And as you are already aware, Boiling Point Arena is Nigeria's foremost hybrid discourse platform where issues are dissected with candor, clarity, and courage. Of course, it's the 44th edition, and yet another compelling episode on a month-by-month basis, which first debuted in November 2022. As it stands, we have been on this lane and on this course for 3.5 years. Well, just watch out our 58th edition. Let's see whether something new will not be coming up. And it is always a privilege to welcome you to this marketplace of ideas where we bring together policy influencers, political actors, technocrats, and thought leaders to examine issues shaping the future of our great nation. We must let you know the Boiling Point Arena is conceptualized as a public sphere, and this hybrid format, arguably the first in Nigeria, merges digital conferencing with traditional radio outreach, in which about 7 radio stations in Lagos, Ogun, and Delta states allow both virtual participation and wide radio listenership. Well, someday, very soon, we'll be conducting an audit to ascertain how many million Nigerians form part of the audience of Boiling Point Arena. Let me not fail to mention that we are seated on this platform, the royal presence of the keynote speaker and chair to herald the discourse, talking about our revered Kabiyesi, the Olowo of Owu Kingdom, Oba Professor Saka Matemilola. It is now time to bring up my colleague, Chaos Amukuruma. I'm sure I'm not, well, I think I'm very right now. Over to you, Chaos.
Is it time now to unveil the guest?
Yes, that's
All right, let's quickly introduce the distinguished personalities who will be driving tonight's conversation first. Major General Salah Williams, retired security strategist and retired senior military officer. Major General Williams served in various commands and leadership positions in the Nigerian Army, retired as Chief of Defense Operations, Training and Plans at the Defense Headquarters. Over the years, he has released his own voice in security, government, and national development issues. General Williams, thank you for joining us. Also, tonight is Colonel Samuel Yonigari, retired Nigerian Army officer, security consultant, and public affairs commentator. Spent over 3 decades in military service, holding several commands, intelligence, legal and peacekeeping appointments before retiring as Director of Army Legal Services. And that is the pleasure having you on the program tonight. And completing our panel is Mr. Olusegun David Onigbinde, popularly known as Shehu Onigbinde. Shehu is an entrepreneur, public policy advocate, and co-founder of Budget, one of Africa's leading technology organizations, transparency, accountability, and citizen participation in governance. Through initiatives such as Tracker that helps Nigerians understand and monitor public spending. So, thank you so much for making time to be part of this important conversation tonight. Gentlemen, welcome to once again. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, girls. Here is a prologue on the topic that is on the front burner tonight. Nigeria today stands at a troubling crossroads. From bustling cities to remote rural communities, kidnapping has evolved from a sporadic criminal act into a thriving criminal enterprise, creating what many now describe as a kidnapping economy. Despite billions of naira and probably trillions spent annually as security votes across the three tiers of government, insecurity continues to spread, leaving citizens fearful and questioning the effectiveness of existing security strategies. Are these enormous security expenditures yielding the desired results? Why do kidnappers seem emboldened despite huge investments in security? What structural, political, and operational challenges are needed to reverse the trend and make Nigerians safe again? These are the critical questions we shall be interrogating today as we examine the nexus between Nigeria's kidnapping economy, national insecurity, and the accountability of security spending. Welcome to this timely and important conversation on kidnapping economy and national insecurity. Are Nigeria's security votes working? What must change to make Nigerians safe again? Well, that was the program. Let's quickly bring up Kabiyesi, the keynote speaker, to herald the discourse and give very intellectual vistas and gravitas to this matter. Let's bring up Kabiyesi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Ojolu. Thank you very much, Gaius, for those opening remarks. Let me also welcome our discussants for today, Major General Shola Williams, retired Colonel Yomi Dare, and Mr. Shehu Onigbinde. And these really are the eminent personalities who can help us dissect the issue at hand today, a very critical issue. Facing us as a nation as we speak. Again, thank you to all participants who have stayed true to this program for the past 44 or so months that we've been running this program. Now, I mean, if you listen to Dr. Ojolu's statement, I mean, really, there are three parts to it, in my view. I mean, first is the existential crisis that this kidnapping thing has posed to our nation. It has become very highly decentralized, where kidnap gangs now operate as heavily armed and as corporate-style criminal networks. Now, the core paradox is this. Several billions and probably trillions have been funneled into security votes over the last several decades, both federal and state levels. But the scale of insecurity seems to be worsening all the time, as we can all witness. And it has the problem has shifted from the sporadic, politically motivated act into what looks like a very structured, self-sustaining ransom economy. threatens our national security and stability. Now, if you look at the mechanics of this growing so-called kidnapping economy, it's on a massive financial scale. Some statistics suggest that over the last 12 months or so, almost 5,000 civilian abductions have happened, with almost 3 billion naira paid out in confirmed ransoms, which is really sad. Most of the time, you find that these kidnap criminals, gangs, target the most vulnerable in the society. It's not just the high network individuals that are being targeted. There's also mass abductions of school children, rural farmers, and mass transit commuters who are just plying their road, going on a trip, for example. Now, when you look at how some of these things work, it looks like the ransom payment is being reinvested somehow. I mean, that is, some of these ransom payments seems to become kind of venture capital for terror, if you like, where the cash is immediately recycled to purchase more sophisticated weapons, secure logistics for them, and fund sometimes illicit mining operations, which makes this cartel even more powerful than the law enforcement agents, and which is really sad. Now, it looks like we have in the security architecture what we can call accountability black hole, where you have trillions of naira allocated in terms of security votes, which is really discretionary. It's opaque allocation of public funds, which are supposed to be meant for urgent, unbudgeted security emergency, at the president and the state governors level. You now find that, this staggering amount, it lacks legislative oversight, turning what should be a defense fund into what you can call a political slush fund, if you like. Zero public auditing, which shouldn't be the case. And then to compound it, the frontline personnel, security personnel, are starved of funds, while executives hold this vast amount of money, which is unaudited most of the time. The tactical security agents on the ground seem to suffer from substandard equipment, low morale most of the time, and underpaid operational allowances, stalling real intelligence operations. And you can see sometimes the frustration boiling over, where I see some of these security personnel coming out in the media and social media sometimes and begin to lament the situation that is there on the front line. Now, it's not just that. When you look at where these criminals hide, it's mostly in the forest, where they've kind of dislodged the farmers. And these farmers have had to completely abandon their fields in food basket states, for example, to escape abduction, which now is driving historic food inflation and national food security as well. You can see some applications, some of these things. Again, you find domestic and foreign investors refusing to deploy their capital to environments where the employees require active paramilitary escorts. Of course, they have to cover their costs as well, and then reduce their own exposure as well. Now, some of the things that maybe hopefully with this, with decentralizing the police, the state police bill, which seems to be getting some traction now, we can begin to transition away from the overburdened federal police structure to localized state and maybe community-based policing to dominate those rural areas where most of these criminal gangs, hide and where they operate from. And again, there's nothing wrong with deploying technology-driven border control and and surveillance to shift funding towards artificial intelligence, drone surveillance, for example. I mean, satellite imaging. These are not rocket science, to be honest. And can also do analytics to police forest hideouts. The fact is, as a country, we cannot budget our way out of a security crisis like this using the same very non-transparent financial mechanisms that created the accountability gap that we have currently. And we need to dismantle this kidnapping economy if we must go forward as a nation. And we must stop treating security as a secret budget item and start managing it as a strictly measurable national investment. Because without proper security, there's no way that we can grow our economy and that we can progress the way we should be. Thank you very much, Dr. Ojulu and Gaius as well. At this point, I'd like to hand over to our discussant to help us probably dissect the issues as you see them and hopefully get some contributions from our participants as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, KBC. That was highly intellectual, and KBC has set the pace. A very quick one before we go to the firing line. If you are on YouTube, we got information that many people like to join this discourse more in on YouTube than even the Zoom. Please subscribe to that Boiling Point YouTube channel, and please just register a comment and let us feel you how you feel us. Thank you very much. Another quick one, we want to thank all our stakeholders, particularly you, the members of the audience who stick with us, come rain, come shine. In all these 44 editions, I'm sure it's possible we have somebody who has never missed one edition. Thank you so much. We have been inundated from very many organizations and individuals who says they cannot wait for our 1 month regular Boiling Point Arena. I say, okay, Boiling Point Arena continues as a regular event every second Sunday in every month. You don't even need any notice. Once you have the link, just come on board every second Sunday in any month. That is sacrosanct. We are going to start another one called Boiling Point Extra. And that one, because many organizations are requesting, well, they want to feature, they like our audience, they like our platforms, they like our media. So we are going to start on June 28th, that's Sunday, June 28th, an organization, National Association of CDOCs, that's NAS. They are very passionate about this insecurity matter. In fact, they are coming up in another dimension that is on June 28th. They are this time looking more at the angle of protecting the students, whether secondary, whether, primary school pupils. They are doing a topic, safe schools, securing the future of the next generation. They are looking at the insecurity in another dimension. You had former Senate President Lawan, who said Boko Haram is fast achieving its objective. What they want is that no school. Somebody traveled to Kwara, Ekiti. 3 weeks ago, there have been no schools in that area. Those schools have been shut. So they want to look at all of this very well. Please just mark it in your diary, June 28th. That is when Boiling Point Extra will debut. It's a clarion call even to government. We are helping government one way or the other to connect with the people. It could be customs, it could be police, it could even be the army. We could help you do it very well by organizing this kind of discourse, and we can move. Thank you very much. Let's quickly go to the firing line. Let me start with General Ishola Williams. General, a very good evening to you today. Help me unmute.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, yesterday, one of the generals, a major general actually, who was the face of the army, of the defense headquarters in capacity of the spokesperson, was buried. He died in the hands of kidnappers. Very unfortunate. I do not know how you feel. It is looking like in the days past, in your days, even in the Abacha era, in the Babangida era, Abacha used to be quoted, I don't know whether rightly or not, if terrorism persists, insurgency persists for more than 24 hours, then there is a hand somewhere. I don't know whether you can beat your chest that is the same army that we are. Do we actually have an army? Let's start with that, sir.
Thank you. You know, what is happening is this. When Shagari was president and the late Inspector General Adeusi was Inspector General, Shagari established the MOPOL, the mobile police, as we call it. The mobile police was supposed to be a paramilitary force, not police, paramilitary force. And it was established basically to be able to use extra police power to deal with gangs, as Kabiesi has mentioned. We do not have terrorism in Nigeria. We have gangs of criminals. We have gangs of bandits. We have gangs of kidnappers and so on. That's what we have in Nigeria. And that's why MOPOL was established. But because Adeusi wanted to be both the Inspector General of Policing and Inspector General of the Paramilitary Police Force, he merged the MOPOL with the police, which was wrong. Second point is this, is that Nigeria made a mistake after independence to cancel the Native Authority Police. That's a big mistake. What we could have done was to have restructured it into regional police, or by now, state police. We did not do that. Why am I saying so? There are two pillars of any national security system. There is the public safety and there's territorial integrity. Public safety deals with law enforcement, preventing crime, deterring crime, and enforcing law when you cannot prevent or deter. And public safety is for bottom up. All the kidnappers, criminals are in local government. So federal government has no business with policing. Federal government has no business with policing. And even the new law that National Assembly has provided now is still a big mistake. State policing should be independent of federal policing, independent of the Federal Police Commission. And they should have their own police commission at the state level. So it's not. And the mistake that we have been making, which is making the situation worse, we have made the army to undertake paramilitary job instead of facing insurgency. And if we are going to do the right thing, We are creating state police now. Let them have their own police commission, not federal one. Independent. The federal police should be divided into 2 or 3. Paramilitary force, which is the MOPOL, Crime Intelligence and Criminal Investigation Agency, with a Director General. And MOPOL, we have a Commander General. And MOPOL, we now train what we call police commandos. Those police commandos should be doing what the Army is doing now. Period. Army will now face insurgency. And because we are not doing these things appropriately, the federal government, for the past 15 or 20 years, have been wasting money on sophisticated weapon systems which are not appropriate for counterinsurgency or for paramilitary force. Like the Tucano, it's like killing a fly with a hammer. Or many of the air platforms that the Air Force has, what are they using them for? Every time they go out, they will kill so many people, and report will come back that those people they kill were civilians. And the interesting thing is that they kill in 70s, 100s, 200, according to reports. But that does not diminish insurgency power in the Northeast, nor be able to deal with the gangs in other parts of Nigeria. We need to stop wasting money. We need to restructure our public safety system and separate it completely from what the Army should be doing in insurgency. If not, we continue to waste money. One point I want to make just before I let others speak is this. The federal government keeps establishing new ones, mining marshal, forest guards, and the point is that they keep recruiting. In any security system, if you pay more than 60% of your budget on personnel cost, how much have you got left for operational duties, maintenance of equipment, mobility, medical services, and so on for the troops? Today, I am sure with those of us who are retired, with those who are still in the Army, I'm sure they have spent up to 80% of the Army budget on personnel. So what have you got? And the point is that all the ones you see in the budget, they are not the total amount of money. The states are spending billions. The federal government is also giving some money somewhere. Lagos State, for example, they have security trust fund. And we don't know how much the governors have in their security vote, which they also spend, apart from the money in the budget. In short, trillions of naira has been spent on public safety, counterinsurgency, but we do not see the effect of this amount of money being spent. Chief of Defense Staff said they cannot buy weapons because of Iran war. Bladadash, like somebody called it hogwash. It's all nonsense. A lot of money is being wasted. So let me stop here. Because only Gbide, who's an expert, is here.
Thank you very much. You are all our experts today. That was very profound, by the way. But was it an omission that you didn't speak about the general who died in captivity? I remember a particular Tell magazine front cover edition about maybe like 4 or 5 years ago or 6, put the photograph of Buhari and say a general conquered by terrorists. I'm not sure we have lost the war, but how did you feel with what happened General Rabe will not be the first casualty, to have, what did you feel? I mean, yeah, if a general can be captured like a chicken and killed the way they did, who else is safe in Nigeria? You did not touch that part before I move to another guest.
Okay. Unfortunately, that has got to happen. It has got to happen. Just like I've given you the background of the difference between territorial integrity and public safety. The army has suppressed the work of paramilitary police, like I've said. And we are not doing policing like native authority police from the bottom up. That has created an ecosystem for what is happening. Having said so, there are three important parts to this story. Number one is the community where the kidnappers or the gangs are based. They cannot operate without some form of community support. They cannot. They cannot operate without sharing some money with the community. We are one of the few countries in the world where somebody like Shegumu will come up and say, security agencies know where the gangs are. If they know where the gangs are, how come they are not able to stop the gangs? How come they are not able to stop the gangs? How come the community supporting the gangs and collecting money from them? There are so many examples. One time is in Katsina. The gangs collected some money, kidnapped some members of a community. The community went to them and told them, if you don't release our people, your family in the community, they will all die. And in fact, one of the gangs said recently too, that if they had touched one of their families, they could have killed General Rabe. He said so openly. Okay? Which shows that there's some form of community collusion with these gangs, and they collect money from them. But the key area is this, is that when security agencies collude or form a Stockholm syndrome with the gangs, we have a very big problem. What does it mean? It means that our counterintelligence system will never work. Our counterintelligence system. And therefore, there are people within the military and security agencies giving information to the gangs. In Oyo State, did they arrest some few people who helped the gangs to kidnap the school children and their teachers? They did. They arrested them. How did the police get them? In short, it means that the police do know who are these people who are helping the gangs. Therefore, you need to raise the level of your counterintelligence system. And that's why I'm saying that you need a crime intelligence and criminal investigation department if you are going to improve the situation. So, in summary, the community is responsible. Security agencies have their own responsibility too, with some member security agencies. And three, Sheikh Gumi told us that security agencies know where the gangs are.
Okay.
And with technology nowadays, if they tell us that they don't know where those gangs are, it's not true. Even the one with the school children in Oyo State, they know where they are, but it's too late to carry out any military operations. That should have been done with special forces or commando police on the day those children, or 24 hours when those children were captured. That's what I can say for now.
Thank you very much. Gales?
All right, thank you very much. Lagos is just your site check is 8:14 p.m. from our previous watch 94.9 FM, and this boiling point. Colonel Yami, I'd like to ask this question. I mean, when you talk about...
I cannot hear you well, girls. I cannot hear you. You need to improve on your audio. I cannot hear you.
Oh, how is it now? Can you hear me well? Is it clear?
You can do better, please. You can do better.
Oh, really? Okay, I think we'll have to get it sorted.
I'm struggling to hear you.
Is it better now?
Well, I'm just still struggling. Okay, yours
Which
is
of the
better.
voices can you hear?
I can hear yours, Ayo. I can hear yours loud and clear.
Why we'll make effort to sort out the line of Gales, but let me push this to you. I would still, like to capture your mood when you heard that even army generals are now victims. Maybe if they're in office, your chief of defense staff, chief of army staff, they go with hordes of, convoy, but you can no longer live a private life in Nigeria. How sad did you feel? Now, but the real kernel of the question is that now it is appearing that Nigeria has budgeted trillions of naira for security over the years, but insecurity appears to be worsening. What fundamental factors explain this apparent contradiction to the extent that it's looking like a new normal? Life is going on. Everybody seems to be moving on while we have this great situation. What is your take? Thank you.
Well, first, let me sincerely thank you, Dr. Arowojolu, and your team for inviting me to participate in this discourse. I want to commend your efforts. It's a very brilliant initiative, especially at this point in time. You know, we need to speak to people. We need to speak to power. We need to speak to the people that we believe, are pulling us behind in this country, because this is a very great country. And let me quickly say again that, we must still continue to celebrate democracy. We have had 27 years of unbroken democratic rule, and that is really commendable. I think it is the longest in the history of this country, uninterrupted. Now, having said that, the topic for our discussion today is the kidnapping economy and national insecurity, and Nigeria's security votes working. What must change to make Nigeria safe again? Now, you gave me a rider from our revered General Williams. He just spoke before me now. General Williams, sir, I salute you, sir. I'm very happy. A lot of us really appreciate what you are doing. You are an epitome of anti-corruption, and that I think I share in that. Let me also, I know Mr. Onigbide, as I understand, is a master of statistics on budgets for defense. But let me quickly say something here too, that according to Transparency International, so far, 241.2 billion has been spent as security votes. And security votes cuts across from the presidency, the state governors, and to the local government chairman. This vote so far is higher than Nigerian Army votes. It's more than the combined votes budgets for the Navy and the Air Force. It's also over 70% of the Nigerian police annual budget. It is 9 times the US security assistance to Nigeria since 2012, which is about 24.7 billion. It is 12 times the UK counterterrorism support promised to Nigeria from 2012 to 2020. Now, if I have to talk, okay, sorry, I was taking a rider from the topic you were pursuing General Williams for about the, the way I received.
Sorry to interject you, Colonel. You will learn now. I was going to tell Baba Williams before, and I'm now saying that it's our nature in on Boiling Point Arena to activate the video. If you don't mind, we need to feel you. It's an interaction and an engagement. So if you don't mind, please activate the video. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, very, very, very beautiful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, talking about the news, the unfortunate, the sad news of the death of late Major General Rabe in the hands of the kidnappers or the bandits. It's very unfortunate. And let me just quickly tell you that it rains everywhere. It rains everywhere. So the military is not left out. We are all exposed to the insecurity that is across the nation for now. So that is why we are all interested in the way and manner that this insecurity can be brought under control, if not even brought to an end. Unfortunately, what we are experiencing now, it is not the kind of conventional crisis or war or criminality that one was used to. What we have right now is terrorism. And terrorists, the way they operate, right now it's a common knowledge that we have cross-border crime. We have our home-baked Boko Haram. They have metamorphosized. They have their support from the ISWAP group, from the Sahel. We have the Lukarawas who got up and said that they were, trying to instill some kind of peace and all these things. But of course, they too are part of it. They are part of the problem. And we have all sorts of armed groups. Each of them, especially in the Northeast corridor, each group carving their jurisdictions, exercising jurisdiction over areas to the extent that they collect taxes. Once upon a time, they were hosting flags. I think these days, the issue of flags is not of particular interest to them anymore. As long as they know who their victims are, they know where their jurisdictions, or their sphere of influence are. Now, you can see that it's not only General Rabe that died in the hands of these bandits, these kidnappers. There was the case of late Major Ajayi. That's around the Bunu Kaba local government in Kogi State. He also died, a retired major. He was there living his life quietly in retirement. He even got into the clergy. And from information, once upon a time, when this bandit struck, he was able to bring them down. I think he was armed. But I think they went back again and regrouped. And this time they came for him and they picked him up. This is an old man who was managing some crisis, But when he didn't have access to his medication and some other things, and of course, the exposure, the bad treatment he was receiving, he finally died. So we also have cases of some other generals who have been picked up. And I understand, well, ransom paid, which brings us to the issue of the economy, the kidnapping economy. Of course, economy exists where activities generate income, employment, networks, and sustainability. Unfortunately, kidnapping now fits into this description in many areas because it involves the armed gangs, it involves the informants within communities, corrupt collaborators, negotiators, suppliers of weapons, ransom couriers, the people who even carry the ransom. They also do their own business. And then we have the illegal financiers. And sometimes we have compromised security personnel. So ransom payment has become a major source of illicit wealth. In some communities, kidnapping is sadly viewed as a business venture because unemployment, poverty, and weak law enforcement, because of unemployment, poverty, and weak law enforcement. You have a battalion of unemployed youths now, and they are going all over the place. So they have to look into, unfortunately, they get easily recruited, by these armed gangs. And of course, the consequences of this kidnapping has also affected, a lot of things. It has devastating impact on the economy of our various of the nation as a whole, and even the communities. The farmers now will have to abandon their farms. Then you have food insecurity. Rural economy will collapse. Businesses will relocate. Even foreign investments now is on the decline. And then of course transportation cost rises. And amongst this, a lot of things will also prop up, such as social consequences, fear and trauma amongst citizens, breakdown of trust within communities, school closures. Most times they just close schools now because of insecurity. Then internal displacement of people. A lot of people are living in IDP camps now. IDP camps, and of course, some people are also smiling to the banks because of that. As a result of that, then we have rise in vigilantism. A lot of vigilante groups are formed now, and you don't even know how genuine some of them are. Then we have the political confidence. You see, there's a loss of public trust and confidence in government. The weakening of state authority, the increasing perception that criminals are stronger than institutions. Because some places now, some communities, they feel that they get protection. Maybe they even sign an agreement for protection with some of these armed gangs. Then let's now talk about Nigerian security votes. Security votes, these are public funds allocated to executives, particularly governors and some civil servants, especially the chairman of the local governments. And these funds are supposed to be for urgent and confidential security operations. The original idea, if I must take us back, gentlemen, the original idea behind security votes was understandable for rapid response to emergencies, intelligence gatherings, support for security agencies, confidential operations that may not pass through lengthy bureaucracy. But these funds have been poorly monitored. They are largely unaccounted for. And like Kabiesi said, some people call it slush funds, and some people call it some people call it camouflaged cash, because they are not transparently audited. It is difficult to evaluate in terms of impact. And this creates public suspicion, especially when insecurity continues to worsen, despite increasing security expenditures. And of course, I think lately, this security vote was even increased from what it used to be. Talking about whether it's working, the honest truth is that, well, partially, but largely below expectation. It is below expectation. While some governors and administrators have used security votes responsibly to procure patrol vehicles, support intelligence operations, equip security outfits, improve logistics for security agencies, many systemic problems, they still remain. And these major problems are affecting, the effectiveness. What I'd like to say here is that it is on record, gentlemen, that this security vote was introduced by our revered General Yakubu Gowon, retired, back in the 1960s. That was when this was introduced. And it's so unfortunate. It's an irony that successive governments, even though the military has been labeled and accused of being the problem of Nigeria, most of the problems, everything they say is a hangover of the military regime. But it's unfortunate that this security vote has not been labeled as a hangover of the military regime. And every successive administration has continued. That's the first thing, security votes. Even this present administration has reviewed it upwards from what I learned. So my take here is this is fueling corruption. Let us remove security votes. Let us ban the security votes. After all, we have budgets for defense. And then, of course, like General Williams mentioned, the states now, they have what you call state security trust funds. These state security trust funds can be applied to support various endeavors, various security endeavors, within their states. And even the local governments too, they have a right to introduce local government security trust funds, which will also assist. Because if you have too much money to play around with, this is just a very big problem. And these are some of the things that is creating problems for us. So let me pause for now and then allow my fellow participants to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, I'd like you to confirm.
You need to adjust your audio. It's still very bad, Mr. Magnus. I must confess to you. Well, it's because I want to hear you very well. We have waited for this moment, and then I'm sure a lot of Nigerians want to hear what we are discussing here. So it's good for us to hear each other very well. Thank you.
Yes, I'm glad you can hear me clearly now.
No, I can't hear you clearly. I said it's better. Are you in the same studio with Dr.
We're in the same setting, yeah. Maybe my voice is louder.
No.
Probably
Okay.
mic is not working.
And you demanded to see our faces. We are not seeing your face, Magnus.
Let's unmute Shehu Nibidi.
I mean, thank you so much. I don't know why you allowed me to speak last after General Ishola Williams and people who and also Colonel Yomidari, I don't know. I mean, why you allowed me to speak last, but I will try my best.
Because you are a civilian.
I don't even know why
I'm glad you didn't put bloody civilian.
I intentionally avoided that.
I'd like you to address this. I mean, these security issues we've been having in Nigeria, you have a lot of Nigeria.
Hear you, sir.
You're not hearing?
Okay, go. I think I was on mute briefly. I don't know. I think it's, but let me say I appreciate the profound presentation by the previous speakers, and I would just say a few things from the data placement perspective. Yesterday, I was in a security stakeholders meeting.
Sorry, Shane. What are you hearing him now?
Yes, I
He's
can hear
here
you
to
now.
put. Yes, he now has his question. Just pause for his question.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I can. Okay, I'll wait for your question, sir. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Please confirm that.
Voice is a little bit low, but I can still manage to hear you. Yes.
I think Dr. Ayo, you'll have to pick it up.
Okay. No problem. Let me just. Well, you are speaking last. You are speaking last because you are occupying a very special spatial here. You are the one who knows deeper about the kidnapping economy. You must have a lot of pity for Nigerians. Before, it used to be a big power. Nigerians are now confront three major, things are battering Nigerians. And these are a combination of, economic crisis, security crisis, governance crisis. Now, many Nigerians, they believe that kidnapping has become an industry. How did the country arrive at a point where abduction has become such a lucrative criminal enterprise? And finally, will it be correct that Nigeria is gradually developing a kidnapping economy, or where criminality is now a means of livelihood for thousands, or we're already into it? That's it.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I would say that, like I was mentioning, I'm from Ogbomoso. So we are all aware of the current issues, unfortunate issues within the Ogbomoso axis, especially in Orire local government, which is just adjacent to Ogbomoso, and with the kidnapping of almost 46 people who have been in their captivity of the evil kidnappers for almost 31 days now. My challenge is that when we say insecurity, insecurity is a symptom, it's the evidence of a mismanaged society. And I think that's the first thing I always wanted to point out. And when we talk about corruption, abuse, waste, and also the fact that we have a weaker society, we will see it in unemployment. We will see it in children out of school. We are stretching that band, and we have moved it now to insecurity. And I guess it's become, a a worrisome issue with the current phase of what we are seeing with kidnapping. Answering your question, we have a kidnapping um, I will call it a kidnapping franchise. That's what I call it at this point. And the reason why I call it a kidnapping franchise is this: I always marvel at the logistics to be able to put over 46 people in a single place, including children. I mean, we all have children at home. So if you put 3 children in the house for 6 hours, we know how horrible and difficult that would be. Now, to put 46 people in a single place with the logistics of possibly feeding them maybe once per day, with the logistics of making sure that you can keep this, you cannot be caught, or you're taking all the cautions. So I see that this has become more like a very sophisticated enterprise. And that we maybe were underestimating it. And I can guess when the people in Ori was kidnapped, some local hunters wanted to rescue them as a quick response, and most of the pathways were mined already, and some of them, another 2 or 3 of them, lost their lives. So just to tell you how sophisticated what we have around us now, like I always tell people, Nigeria's budget has always followed its trajectory. There was a time where we were spending heavily on education and health, because we believed that that was the bedrock of the society. I mean, the Western region, the Eastern region. There was a time we started moving spending on infrastructure and industrialization in the 70s, and we started building roads, bridges, third mainland, these axial roads, and all of that. And there was a time where we started moving our spending heavily, on those things. Now we've moved into where the biggest chunk of the budget is on security sector spending and also in humanitarian environment. It just speaks about the current trajectory that the country has found itself. Our entire security budget is around 6.9 trillion naira, which is almost around 11% of the total budget. Now, when you add humanitarian services there, you are getting somewhere around 8 trillion naira. Now, the reality one will see is that are we getting, number one, are we actually, if we budget 8 trillion naira, are we spending 8 trillion naira? That's number one. The second thing is that on what are we even spending this money upon? My worry a little bit about all of this, and I guess sitting in the meeting yesterday, the Obumosho, I was in part of a meeting called Obumosho Security Stakeholders Meeting yesterday, and we had different kings, different local chiefs, different eminent people from Obumosho address the issue of insecurity within the axis. And something that was clear with me is that the foundation itself is faulty. If we are spending money on a very faulty foundation, there is no way we're going to get a different answer from it. So we have a kidnapping problem in the country. It speaks to the fact that it's also part of the fact that we have not done policing the way we should have done it. We have not enabled local intelligence the way it should have been. And if that has happened, there were people even that have been arrested inside Obumosho within these last 3 weeks who they figured out that they were supplying food to the kidnappers. And some of it is because local intelligence became much more aware and much more responsive. So, in my view, if there's anything that we should take from all of this, is that it's like we are pouring water in the basket. We are spending money, we're committing resources, but we are spending money on a franchise that has grown big. Because I believe when it comes to kidnapping, there are small boy kidnapping. There are those that have become mid-level sophistication, which I might suspect might be those who have kidnapped the people in Orire. Now, the people who are in charge now, who are negotiating now, are no longer the mid-level people in my own view. They are maybe the more sophisticated one, because the logistics to hold for the 6 people, or even in Kwara, over 100 people for a long, prolonged period of time, I think it requires high level of criminality. And a lot of resources that we are pumping into it now is not working just because the foundation itself is faulty. Thank you very much.
I'll still hold you there. The issue of security votes. This man called security vote. Is it a vague thing? Is it really existing? And I say this because I will let you listen to a clip that former Governor Fashola of Lagos recently said. He said he never collected. I think we should hear him. Let's just hear him. Oh, it's not loud. Are you listening?
I cannot hear anything.
We are doing trials in the Ministry of Budget and Planning. So you will think governor will receive something as security vote. I don't know if Governor Karaki got that kind. I didn't get it. But I don't know from where they were getting it. But this security vote thing, whenever I hear some of the colleagues talk about it, I don't know what it means because I never had it in Lagos.
Okay.
Well, you were the governor, but I was the governor. governor.
I think from the feelers I'm hearing, maybe a lot of people didn't quite hear very well. But Sean, did you hear a little bit of it? Hello, Sean.
No.
Yes, I
Okay.
heard it, and I was part of the. I listened to the program live yesterday. I mean, at the platform where Governor Fashola, former governor of Lagos State, mentioned the fact that he did not receive any security votes. And I know we had even had this conversation. There are three things I know about security vote. The first thing I always tell people is a security vote is a relic of the military administration. It has no place in democracy. It has no place in the Constitution because the Constitution says every funds that will be spent should be properly appropriated and by the legislature. There are only very few instances you have looked into a federal budget or in a state budget and you see a very clear line called security votes. It's become, and that's the first thing. The second thing is it's become a giveaway to most public officials that is poorly accounted for. I remember there was a time where the deputy governor of Abia State was impeached. And when he was reinstated back, he asked that they should be paid almost, I think, 600 million naira. And they asked him for what? And he said if he had remained in office, that would have been a security vote. In fact, the Theodore Oji, who was the former governor before the current government, a whole lot of billions of naira was what he said he was spent on security votes and all of that. And most of those funds largely unaccounted for, which is the thought. It's a mass of money that is largely unaccounted for. It's almost like people just say, this is the governor's money, this is the president's money, this is this person's money, which I feel do not have a place in a democracy. The reality is that there is no standard fee for what you call security vote, for example. There is no people as government, as governors, just discretionarily just write an amount for themselves and says this is the security vote, and this is maybe what the governor is using in a very secretive way, in a way that is not given to the public to address insecurity within the country. And I guess I didn't work in Fashiona's government. I will not say I accept his position or not. But what he has said is what the standard should be. You have a security trust fund. You have a budget of Ministry of Budget. Let the public funds go through those channels instead of you saying, I write myself a security vote in millions of naira, which the governor charges almost on a monthly basis. So it's an anomaly that is not standardized. And maybe it also means maybe sometimes it's better to standardize it. Okay, we say, okay, 0.1% of every allocation is for security votes. And this is a process of expenditure. Maybe that will be more clearer. But what has become a norm over the years is that we have taken over practice that happened in the military era, where we knew that obviously accountability does not happen in the military era. We've taken over a practice that was a relic of the military era, taking it into democracy, make it unaccounted for and poorly standardized. And at the end of the day, I don't say a lot of things used to say they are used for security are just, personal expense of the governor, maybe that are just being used, for political reasons or just to be able to sort out things that might not be able to fit into the public purse. I guess that's what you mostly call security vote. It doesn't mean that there's any part of that has been spent on security. Because if you ask a governor again now, he will say, oh, security is not my responsibility. It's still at the federal government level. I'm only a CSO. I don't even command the commissioner of police. So billions have been wasted through this channel, but I don't think there's any form of legality that this security vote stands.
Okay, thank you. You apparently were trying to just say military was better. But let me not just drag you
I
into
didn't
that.
say that, sir.
But what did you say? Okay, let me just parry that. Let's come over to General Williams. General Williams, I'm sure we are going to see your face this time around.
No, I'm to be heard, not to be seen.
we are in a political season. Oh, we are in a democracy. But okay,
Yes,
let
but
me. The last time we interviewed you, we saw your face.
yeah, that's true. But times have changed.
Okay, let's see. From your military experience, where exactly is Nigeria getting its security strategy wrong? I ask this because even what the challenge that we have now, if we allow maybe America, because America from far away, they were hitting target from here. What immediate reforms can improve our intelligence-led operation so that, okay,
Now, see, we can have bragged so many times since 2014. We can minimize the crisis situation we have now in 6 months.
really?
What? Yes, in 6 months. The priority should be, like I've said, on public safety. And what do? Lagos State and Rivers State, they have an experiment in what they call neighborhood watch. This neighborhood watch is community policing. The members of that watch, even though they are in uniform, they have no barracks. They stay with the people of the community in the various houses. Therefore, they are witnesses to every event that's happening in that community. When you have that sort of structure at the community level, you then have a structure for grassroots intelligence. And once you have grassroots intelligence, you can prevent crime. If that grassroots intelligence is backed up at the state level, you will discover that the announcement of General Rabe's death was made by Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs. What does that mean? It means that at the state level, the state police is operating or structure is there for law enforcement to talk about internal security. Home Affairs is intelligence network. Every state in Nigeria have been having that since independence. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? It is not working because the state does not want it to work. We do not need trust fund. We don't need trust fund at all for security. The word security, like I keep saying, is wrong. When embassies want to say people should not come to Nigeria, they say Nigeria is not safe. It's not that Nigeria is not secured. Nobody is attacking Nigeria. Nobody. Nigeria is secured. We also do not separate terrorism from separatism from insurgency. Terrorism happens in Europe. It doesn't happen in Africa. In Africa, we have separatists. IPOB, for example, is separatist because it was believed they are marginalized. Insurgents want total breakaway and create their own independent state based on ideology. Like Boko Haram, they want a caliphate. I've said for the last 15 years, Boko Haram is not interested in any other region except the Northeast, and in particular, Borno State. They are not interested anywhere in Nigeria. So if anybody tells you that Boko Haram is coming to the Southwest, that is a lie. The case of the Fulanis, exaggerated. Who are the owners of the cattle? Who are the owners of the traditional rulers, top business people, politicians, and so on? They own the cattle. In Ghana, the president told the police, you see any cattle on the road, shoot that cattle. The cattle disappeared. If anybody comes out to plead on behalf of the others, arrest that person. Nobody came out. Nobody has passed that law in Nigeria. Okay. Now coming to the police and the military. How can you have a military that is fighting insurgency for the past 15 years? No change in doctrine, no change in tactics. How do you want to fight when you don't constantly change your tactics? So it's lack of tactics on behalf of the military, on the part of the military, and that's why they are not succeeding. You ask any soldier today, who are you fighting Boko Haram? They don't know. They do not know why they are fighting Boko Haram. So if they don't know, how do you expect them to fight and defeat Boko Haram? So psychologically, the soldiers are not prepared. Tactically, there's a lot of tactics in the army. And the collaboration between the Air Force and the army. Okay. They are not using the appropriate weapons to fight. One time, the army was not ashamed to say that Boko Haram has more sophisticated weapons that they have. It's a lie. We have drones today. We have drones. All sorts of gadgets.
Drones,
why are they not using them? The president
you have
appointed.
Tucanos too.
Yes. The president appointed SSA, Home Security, Homeland. Where did he disappear to? Have you heard about him since his appointment? Where is he? What happened?
They went to visit, I think they were in Oyo State.
It was not there.
Okay, it was
not there.
Them.
Now, talking about money, I'm repeating what I said. Most of the money given to the military and security agencies, they spend the money on salaries. They spend money on salary. State government buy them vehicles. They give them welfare fund. Nigeria is spending trillions of naira every year on public safety issues. Trillions. But most of them are not accounted for. Let me make one final point. In other crimes, when a general like that dies, the chief of army staff will resign. If he doesn't resign, he'll be sacked. The commander in that area, police or DSS, all of them will be sacked. All of them. Not to talk about soldiers who are killed and beheaded. Now, in Oyo, Makinde did not even talk about SSA, Amotekun. That one too kept quiet. He's still there. In other crimes, he'll be sacked or he will resign if he has that ethical sense. We have the capacity, we have the capability. We have not got the doctrine, we have not got the tactics. The president is not demanding accountability, and the military officers to have no sense of responsibility. Therefore, where you have lack of accountability, yes.
I'm sorry to cut in here. I want to establish a nexus from your submission. Buhari spent 8 years in office. All his service chiefs probably spent close to that. And at the end of the day, honored, despite their very dismal performance, he honored them. it's looking like it's the same kind of continuation of that. What do you want to say to that? Is it that the one who occupies the presidency? I mean, most times the impression we have as citizens is as if people serving as presidents or as heads of state are afraid of the army chiefs. What do you think?
See,
Because if you don't perform, what's the justification?
when somebody asked me about General Buhari, he forgot everything he learned in the military. And secondly, he always confessed that he was not aware. Remember, he was not aware. So you can forgive Buhari. Second point, civilian leaders are always afraid of the military, and they don't need to. And because of the way they choose the service chiefs, that is why. The way they choose service chiefs is politically influenced. And that is why it is very funny when we have public safety issues and conflict. Oh, they tell people don't politicize it. It is a political problem. We require political decision making. Now, most of the commander-in-chief of Nigeria is not the commander-in-chief of police. It's not. It's not. A federal system does not need federal policing. The commander-in-chief is for paramilitary police, intelligence, and armed forces of Nigeria, not policing. Like I said, policing is from bottom up, not top down. And that's why I'm saying that the present law is not. Two, the president does not demand accountability. It does not. Even the present one. Whenever something happens, if you call them and say, go and deal with this. When they hear something happen, whom did he call? He said they should go and recruit 1,000 forest guards. As if those forest guards will go there and save the children. Doesn't make sense. Who are his advisors? Who are his advisors? Okay? We have nobody. Because our National Assembly, who is supposed to be conducting oversight, they are all crooks. We have no National Assembly in the real sense of it. So they don't perform any oversight. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, they came up and said, you service chiefs, if you cannot do the job, resign. Is it not they say so? And they passed the police bill because of those children who were kidnapped and pressure. Akpabio said they were going to do it in December. Times have changed. We are still waiting for the Senate now to endorse what the House of Reps have done. Okay? Inspector General of Police are put himself back in the situation. And they put Police Service Commission also to be responsible for appointing commissioners of police in the state. It is not right. It is not right. We are not getting it right. And that's why I'm saying that in 6 months, we can solve this problem. In 6 months.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, let's do another trial.
I don't know if you can hear me now, but can you hear me? I'll go to Colonel Yomi. Colonel Yomi, can you hear me?
We still can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah. Thank you, Oluseun. We can't hear him. We can't hear him.
That's all right. Let me give this to you, Colonel Yomidari.
Okay.
You live in the US, and it looks like in that climate, the security forces have mastered the art of technology. And I'm sure what is happening there is not...
Point of correction, Ayo. I don't live in the US. I'm only on a visit, and I'm a retired officer. I don't live here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Thank you.
What I'm just trying to establish is that you have exposure. You have traveled across the borders, and you must have known that even from your military training and your courses abroad, that the way they do their security system, they use technology. You recall that some years ago, during Buhari time, there was a time that maybe two American citizens were kidnapped, I think around Niger Republic, and within 2 days or so, the Americans came and they rescued their own and then, saved the situation. Is it that we take our own for being ragtag, or that, we don't, there is no appropriate technology? As we speak, our children that are still there in the forest for going close to a month, are there no things, talking as a military person, that we can see what is going on, what is happening there, what is the exact location that those people, and is it all about guns and shootings? Are there not other, chemical solutions whereby they can rescue those people unhurt? That's what I want to find out.
Thank you very much once again, Ayo. Well, having listened to General Williams' position, especially on the issue of whether Nigeria is insecure or Nigeria is safe. I think I'd like to also use the word now that why safety issue persists despite huge spending in Nigeria. Well, it's the problem is hydra-headed. It is not only financial; it is also structural, political, institutional, and moral. You see, you cannot solve insecurity merely by increasing budgets when institutions are weak. Intelligence systems are poor. Corruption undermines enforcement. Justice systems are slow. Citizens lack trust in authorities. Security is not just about guns and uniform. It's about governance, justice, economic inclusion, and public trust. You see, what is going on right now? These unfortunate captives in Ogbomoso, they've spent almost 4 weeks now in captivity. I think it's just like when you say justice delayed is justice denied. At the same time, when we don't act promptly, a lot of things crop up, and then more room is created for collateral damage. I'll give you an example. Most times we start thinking, given the excuse that, oh, if we storm that place, a lot of people are going to die. We have to be decisive. There's no way that people won't die. After all, the bandits, they behead some of the people, for whatever reasons. They behead them, they kill them, they threaten. Like the situation in Kwara, they've given the government 1 week deadline to meet up their demands. If they don't meet up their demands, they cannot. The captives will lose their lives. That's on the table, So it's not that we cannot act, but again, how are we sure that even the people we are dealing with don't have collaborators amongst us? I see a lot of complicity, even across the board, a lot of complicity. Because some people are thriving. That's why we say, this is a kidnapping economy. Some people are enjoying it whilst this is going on. We've been at this now for almost 20 years. And it's still on. is very, very unfortunate. So a lot of things must really change if we have to restore this country, if we have to restore safety to this country. You know, for example, the security votes, it has to be transparent and accountable, or we should even remove it. We should remove it because it's free money. It's slush, camouflage cash. And there must be proper legislative oversight. Independent auditing mechanism must be put in place. And then even the military, periodic security performance reviews, you know, clear accountability frameworks, all these things must be addressed. And then confidentiality in security matters is important, but secrecy must not become a cover for misuse. Of course, security, community policing, you know, we must also ensure that this works. We've always had this thing before. All we need to do is to activate it in line with our present structure. Because right in the community, all suspicious movements are known. Criminal hideouts. People who live in the community, they know where these criminals are. Strange activities. They know they know where there are potential threats. So effective community policing can improve intelligence gathering. It can build trust. It can enable faster response, you know, to curbing insecurity. For example, when there's any kidnap, they will be able to track them. They will be able to track them. And it can also help in preventing crime before escalation.
Okay. Security
has to be people-centered. It has to be people-centered, you know. And of course, even our present police force, there's need for better welfare, because it's in a situation where you find, you know, police at roadblocks, all they're interested in is, you know, for some of them will even salute you. They will salute you. You see a criminal, you salute a criminal. And then the next thing you start asking him, anything for us? Probably that is the person who is going to the next village to go and create mayhem. So there must be, you know, improved salaries, and then also modern equipment, digital surveillance systems, forensic laboratories, and then there has to be continuous professional training for them. An underpaid and poorly equipped police force cannot effectively combat sophisticated criminal networks. We have to invest in intelligence and technology. For example, modern equipment such as drones, of course, we've mentioned that before, and CCTV systems, you know, biometric databases. All these things, we have to step them up such that, you know, in some climes, right at the airport, in some places now, you don't even need to remove your shoes. It is the biometrics, you know, that will prove whether you are on the wanted list, you're a criminal, right, or you are free to come in. And of course, satellite monitoring, digital tracking equipments, artificial intelligence assisted surveillance, all these things, you know, we need to introduce so that, you know, we can step up and make, you know, our communities, our nation more secured. You know, we need to have integrated national data systems, you know, because right now you are not even sure. The NIN or the BVN, you are not sure which one is authentic right now, you know, because people can just go and they pay some money somewhere, and then they get NIN or they get the BVN, okay, you know. So we can go on and on and on, but as far as I'm concerned, you know, we have to also speak to the government. There's need for job creation, skill acquisition, entrepreneurship support, you know, for rural development, agricultural modernization, and quality education, you know. So all these things, and of course, the judicial system. Justice delayed weakens deterrence. We need faster prosecution. You arrest people, you say, and then they are kept somewhere, and then you are still feeding them, keeping them, and after some time, you find out that they are out on the streets again.
Okay, for time consideration.
Yes, I can go on and on, and
I can see that.
yeah, so let me just stop it for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are gradual. Time is no one's friend. We are gradually coming to a point of floor interaction, and but it would be unfair if I don't allow Sheil to have one more shot and another particular question for General, which okay. But meanwhile, let's for those who are on Zoom, you know the rules. You can just indicate by the raising of hands for contributions which will be short and sharp. Then for those who will be calling via the phone lines, I think Gaius will do that. Maybe you do that first,
Okay.
then
I hope we can hear me. 0906 That's the number for your call. 0906 0996 All 65 is 0704 100 7949. 0704 100 7949. On WhatsApp it is 0915 494949. 0915 849 4949. You can text us there or send us a voice note.
and then the technical crew can please help us put it on put the number, studio number to call on the chat box on Zoom. Let me quickly ask Shimonigmide to just also come up with his thought. And would Nigeria be safer if security votes were abolished and channeled directly into police modernization, intelligence gathering, and technology deployment? I hope we can do it very fast. Thank you. Shil?
Yeah, I mean, thanks so much, sir. I agree that if a lot of monies that are abused in the name of security votes is channeled properly to technology, to intelligence, it will work. But I think the first step of that is what we're about to do with the state police. One of the key revelations I heard was that there are over 700 communities in Orire local government, over 700. I mean, small, very small communities where 200 to 300 people live. And they don't have any policing presence in those environments. And those are the things that, if we get states to own up to the responsibility of security and they do it properly and do it well, we can start having improved security framework that relies on local intelligence, swift action, even use of technology. I mean, the old forests, this old Oyo National Park that is quietly now becoming a cover for terrorists. People put their thermal drones that would, that you can insert into all of those places. You hang them like exactly you would think is a fruit. You hang them into a tree. You build a whole network of them into a tree, and you maybe routinely change their batteries, and you'll be able to see them constantly. Those are the kind of things we need to bring forward. But those things seems will not work effectively in this centralized policing system we have. So not just more money that we need, but spending the more money in a proper way. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And a very quick one for General, if you can make it very short. When Colonel Yomi was talking about prosecution, it is gladdening to note that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday, 2 days ago, has assured, I mean, in fact, he gave a hard knock to the bandits that he's not going to do any prisoner swap, that he will not release anybody. But I want you to flash back to Buhari era, where what happened at Kuje prison, it looked like they looked the other way and allowed, those Boko Haram to have their way. You could just, for the benefit of hindsight, what would you say about this, General? Why we go back to go for floor interactions and the cause can begin to come in. Thank you. I hope we still have General Williams. Okay. Yes, General Williams is still there. General, sir. Yes, please.
Yep. I lost you for some few minutes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we were talking about prosecution. Did you hear the question, sir?
You were talking about
what happened. We said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has told off the bandits or the terrorists that he will not do any prisoner swap or allow, free any prisoner. But you recall that during Buhari era, there was an invasion of Kuje prison, whereby it would appear, because that was what it looked like then, that the government in power then looked the other way and allowed those terrorists to free those insurgents that had been held in captivity. I want you to just flash back to also, maybe you want to applaud President Tinubu for that, new initiative. Thank you.
no. I don't, it's not for me to say. And in my own opinion, I do not believe that those who are advising him are really analyzing the issues properly and telling him about the need to deal with the fundamentals of safety and security. Nobody is telling him that. And I've accused my own colleagues, Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chiefs, why they have no courage to go to the president and tell him, we in the armed forces, we want to face the insurgency. Let the police handle public safety issues, criminality, banditry. I've suggested so many times to people who need to listen. We don't need federal policing. We need MOPOL as a federal paramilitary force with commandos at the state level. You know that, see, in India, that sort of kidnapping, it is handled by commando police. At the state level, you now have federal paramilitary force who, if the state commando cannot handle the problem, they back up the state. They back up the state. The military comes in very much last. But right now, like my dear Colonel said, we are not structured. The military is not structured for counterinsurgency or low-intensity warfare or irregular warfare. We are not. We are still structured like an army that is going to fight a conventional warfare. And I keep telling my dear young colleagues, nobody will attack Nigeria, nobody. When you come to the case of the borders, again, if you have a paramilitary police, you put them with the customs and immigration at the border. And you have a border system. And with all this technology that you people are talking about, drones and everything, they have them. Customs, immigration, they have drones. Armed forces, they have drones. They have special forces. Customs have enforcement agents who carry guns. Immigration too. It is a matter of reorganizing these structures, train them to be better, and give them the appropriate technology. That's all. Even customs has aircraft. So what are we waiting for? That's why I said in 6 months, this problem can be solved. But nobody's telling President Tinubu that. Nobody. That's why we are in this sort of situation. So each one needs to find out, all this money I'm giving you, what are you spending the money on? What are you spending the money on? He had promised them 5.something trillion now. To spend on what? Importantly too, are they even maintaining the sophisticated equipment they are buying for them? Are they maintaining them? Where are they? What are they using them for? And finally, if you buy people sophisticated equipment, you don't know how to operate it. You don't have the tactics to apply those sophisticated equipment. These are the things nobody's finding out. You keep recruiting men, you keep spending money. We are like people who do not think now. We are not thinking. We are not thinking at all. And that's why we are in this situation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now the phone lines can buzz again, but okay, let's go to Zoom. We have Akogun. That's Commodore Kunle Olawumi. Yes, Akogun, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I cannot speak here when General Shola Williams has spoken, and when Colonel Diary has also spoken, and my civilian friend, not bloody civilian, but my civilian friend. But I just think I want to. You are a bloody civilian, so.
Okay.
I want to change the trajectory of the discourse. I've listened to my senior colleagues. They have addressed, most of the challenges, but the trajectory I want to maybe advance is that if you have a headache and you take Panadol, the headache may go temporarily, but maybe the real cause of that headache is a tumor in your brain. You still need to either, do a surgery, do something else to get the headache off. I think all the tactical and operational aspect that has been well discussed here are not really, they are part of the problem, but I think there are two actors in this scenario here. You have the hostile intelligence service, that's the Americans, the British, the French, and all those Israelis, the Chinese, they're involved in all this. Then you have the domestic ones that they're also doing their thing based on ignorance. They talk about religion and maybe they want to make money from kidnapping and so on. But the center of gravity of what is going on is mineral resources. So the hostile intelligence services like the French, the Chinese, and so on, are using the domestic ones that want, Sharia and maybe Islamic, whatever. They have their own agenda, but they are being used from outside to perpetrate all this. So while the jihadis are making their ways, the Chinese, the British, the Americans, they are cutting away your resources. So if you want to elevate this discussion, we bought Super Tucano fighter jets. I was in the system. We bought all those things. It's not like the Nigerian army or Nigerian military cannot stop what is going on, as General Shola Williams has mentioned. They can. The problem is that Tinubu himself knows what is going on. He understands what is going on. He knows the solution to it. And I'm saying this with authority because I've spoken with him before he became president, and we've spent like 3 hours with him. So he knows what is going on. It is the blackmail and so many other things that is going on behind the scene that is making him to allow this hostile intelligence service, the Americans, the British, to take our resources in Zamfara and other places. So while the domestic people think they are doing they are jihadists, but they are being armed and being funded from outside. The CIA is funding Boko Haram. We all know that. So while we discuss the major operational issues and the problems of policing, financing, and so on, I just want to elevate the discussion that for us to solve it, it's not the amount of money you put in, it's not the amount of weapons you put in. It's the political will to arrest those people that are sponsoring these things, these narratives within the system itself, and to call our Foreign Affairs Ministry, the NIA, and so on, to interdict what the CIA, the MI5, the Chinese intelligence, and so on, what they are doing in Nigeria. That is the bigger picture. I think we should look at the problem more holistically than maybe looking at the pedestrian one, which is kidnapping, insurgency, and so on. The main issue, Nigeria has been captured by the West and the Chinese, and they are the one fomenting all this problem. While we are struggling and discussing, they are cutting away your resources, they are taking away your gold and so many things. If you go to Dubai, you see the Nigerian gold market is there. So it's about resources. So the religious aspects are foolish. They think they're making inroads by establishing their Sharia or something. But who is financing them? Who is sponsoring them? It is the people outside that are sponsoring them. And our politicians here cannot do anything because they have been blackmailed. Most of them are supposed to be in prison. You know that. Some governors they ran away from US to be here. Some of your ministers also, they have a lot of, so those are the major issue. The foreign powers that are sponsoring these things for your resources, then the foolish religious jihadists that think they want to carry their Quran to the sea that are being sponsored by them. So I think we should try and see how we can get the right people to get to our government in 2027. Good leadership will resolve all these things because Yaradua did it in 6 months, as General Shola Williams said. We were the one they used that time, and it was done in 9 months. Niger Delta issue. So Tinubu can do it, but he's been blackmailed. So I just want to rest at this point. I want to thank Colonel Dare and General Shola Williams, my boss, for a wonderful outing this evening. And my civilian friend too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Akogu. Well, let's go over to Yinka Quadri. That's another fine gentleman too. Let's unmute Yinka Quadri. Okay, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, my dear brother and leader, Dr. Arowo Jolu, for this, your passion to elevate the Nigerian discourse to a point where it becomes impactful on our lives. I thank you very much for your perseverance and your persistence. And I also thank the Olowu, His Royal Majesty, for supporting you. I must recognize the commitment. Thank you very much. It's a rare honor for me.
So much.
Yeah, it's a rare honor for me to be an audience to the wisdom of General Ishola Williams. I must quickly and briefly, you must give me the indulgence. I just want to thank General Ishola Williams for being a father that is still not recognized in Nigeria. Because way back in university, I benefited from Professor Williams' generosity while I was in the University of Ife. So, and I want to commend the general for the reputation he has built for himself. And it's just unfortunate that people like him have not been able to get to positions of power. I also want to thank the other lead discussants, Colonel Yomidari and Mr. Sheon Onigbede for the brilliant contributions. Now, just going straight to my point. Incidentally, Commodore Kunle Olawumi, the Akogun, has given a light to what I had intended to say. So I won't have much to say, except to make an observation, just like he did, that the contributions of the lead speakers here today have only gone to confirm that the problem of insecurity in Nigeria is simply political. Why did I say that? All the recommendations that have been made here today by all the lead discussants go to show that all of these things are only basically within the powers of the government and the workers of government to execute. There is hardly anything that the citizenry can do in all of these recommendations that have been put forward by our learned discussants here. And to drive the matter home that this is purely political. I mean, like General Ishola said, and corroborated by the Colonel, Nigerian Army, even the way it is today, as ragtag as we may consider Nigerian Army to be today, if Nigerian Army is unleashed and empowered, insurgency, it's actually not insurgency, it's an invasion, really. The invasion into Nigeria and the attempt to capture Nigeria will be completely subdued in 3 months at most. With the current situation of the Nigerian Army as unequipped, or, well, as we may think it is, I'm sure that could happen. But because this is political, the Nigerian military is not given the free access to operate. That's one of the major reasons that that this crisis is continuing and even growing. And it's like the whole of Nigeria has already been captured now, according to according to the Commodore. I mean, where in the world will you see a government official taking picture with a bandit who has a gun hung around his neck, and the general in the military is standing right beside them? I mean, it's only in Nigeria. The video is online where the Katsina State governor was in a picture, in a photograph. I have never seen that kind of thing before. So we need to begin to ask some very fundamental questions, more than the kinetic overview that we have had today. Also, I am not aware there's any prosecution, and conviction of any of these criminals over the last 20 years or so that this crisis has metamorphosed. No, nothing of such. And also, you speak about government paying billions of naira to bandits, telling them that you are appeasing them, you don't want them to continue to kill your people, so you pay them off, like the former governor of Kaduna State did, paying off some bandits to over billions of naira because he doesn't want them to keep coming and attacking his people. Not only that, how do we explain a situation where these so-called terrorists, killers, are arrested, they are captured, arrested, and reintegrated back and into the society, not just into the society, but taken into the military forces, into our armed forces in the country, and police and all of that? So-called criminals arrested. And then you said you have rehabilitated them, and the next place you need to put them is inside the security forces. Where is that done if there is no political undertone to all of these issues that we are talking about? And it is only here too in Nigeria that respected citizens, traditional rulers, will come out and be defending what is obscene and indefensible. How can a leader come and say, "Oh, on them, they are just they are hungry people, or they are not well taken care of"? That's the reason are they the only people that are hungry in Nigeria? If all Nigerians want to do that, what country are we going to have? So that is why, for me, I want to support the Commodore, that in as much as all of the presentations made are so very fundamental and germane and relevant, because invariably we still need to deal with this matter. We need to look at the leadership that is look, it may be too far to say that there is political orchestration here, but you can't deny the fact that there is either a toleration or a collaboration somehow. Because if there is a political will to deal with this matter, everybody that has spoken here, if only one of them is taken or arrested and say, "Look, I am the president of this country, I am arresting you, General Ishola. Come here and sit with me. I want this problem solved." This problem will be solved in 6 months, like you said. And if it is if it is Mr. Sheoni, they say, we're going to come here, my brother. I mean, you're under arrest. Yes, I'm the president. I'm your brother. I'm your father. Come and solve this problem for me. This problem will be solved. So, in as much as I agree that we need to do all of these things that have been mentioned here, we need to acquire technology, get drones and all of that, fantastic. But the bottom line that we need to do two things. One, there's an agenda that wants to overrun Nigeria. It's an historical one over the years. The agenda is still on. And the second is what the Commodore said, that look, there are resource interests, people, stakeholders who are eyeing our resources and are trying to destabilize the country so that they can gain unfettered access to those resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yinka Quadri. Well, we have gradually come to the end of the program. I would be bringing up KBAC for his roundup, but Yinka forgot to even say that even from the highest quarter in the military, I was reading a story with the headline. What did they say? These bandits are not. We shouldn't allow. We shouldn't let them die. we should. Pity them and help them to be repentant. I don't know what to say about that. Thank you very much. I have already signaled that KBC was coming up. KBC, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ojolu. Let me start by appreciating the very excellent work carried out by our discussants. Thank you very much, all of you. General Williams, Colonel Dari, and Mr. Onigbede. We really appreciate the depth and quality of your analysis of the issues at hand as well. And also to moderators, Pastor Ojolu and Mr. Gaius as well. Unfortunately, we couldn't properly benefit from the contribution and encouraged by Gaius because of technical issues. I think we will come to that in a while as well. And also to everybody who has been part of this today. I mean, it's really a key thing. But let me just point out that I really like the summary provided by Commodore Laomi, the Akogu. The fact remains that we cannot budget our way out of the problem of insecurity. The key is to have leaders who have the political courage to tackle this problem head on. It requires leadership which cannot be and will not succumb to blackmail, either by internal forces or international forces as well. I mean, that really, I think, is a summary of the entire thing, really. Every other thing is really commentary around that. Once you have that as a benchmark. So I really want to put that out as a summary that I think we should just focus on. Again, I want to appreciate our media partners who have been really, really supportive, all the 5 radio stations, as well as all those who have really helped. We want to continuously improve the quality of delivery of this package, the experience of our participants as well. So to that extent, we want to continue to solicit for your feedback on the quality of the content as well as the delivery as well. And we'll work on all of this feedback as best as we can to ensure we can serve you better and to our nation better. On that note, thank you very much to all of us. And I wish everybody a very productive and happy week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, KBC, for that royal covering, the fatherly and very intellectual visitors to it. Let me also thank our guests. Very superb, very balanced. Thank you for your viewpoints. Thank you, General Williams, for what you do. Thank you, Colonel Iyomi Dari. Thank you, Mr. Sheung Onigbede, fabulous FUNAB there, fabulous UNAB. I'm saluting you. A quick one now. Let me restate the information that we gave in the beginning, that Boiling Point Arena continues as a regular program every month, sacrosanctly every second Sunday of every month. But that another program, Boiling Point Extra, will debut on Sunday, June 28th, and that one will come up frequently when there is need based on demand. On June 28th, it's a Sunday, the National Association of Sea Dogs, they are very serious about the school angle, that is the primary and secondary schools angle to this whole insecurity. And they are also assembling a panel to talk about this. And that will happen featuring Boiling Point Extra. And we are trying to also say that we are at your beck and call for corporate organizations that want to use our platforms to reach the public. The solutions to the myriads of problems that we have in Nigeria will come through discourses like this, through continuous engagement and robust discussions. I want to thank you so much. This is the size of our package. God bless you all till we meet again. Ayo Arowojolu is my name. Chaos?
Yes, it's been a very wonderful time. We'll do this again next month.